sad day for us all. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to start off by reading something to you all that I've prepared. The EMS profession honorably served 1950 to 2033. It is with great sadness that we announce the passing of the EMS profession, a noble career which inhabited the most dedicated servicemen and women, and a truly beloved community asset for which we will all miss and mourn. Emergency Medical Services was born in the 1870s out of a war-stricken nation. In its infancy, it was strictly a means to transport the injured and the ill, but it soon matured into treating and transporting patients. In the 1960s, during Nixon's presidency, it all changed with the issuance of the White Paper. In 1996, the agenda of the future shaped EMS as we know it. Known for its immense love for its community, public safety, and its deep devotion to the practice of actual medicine. EMS has been dedicated to the healthcare system and has spent its life giving back to its community, volunteering and lobbying for much needed support and recognition, but has never completed its mission to gain these. EMS lost the fight and succumbed to its disease condition at a very young age. Barely a century old, EMS will be deeply missed by all of the lives who have been touched by its kind and caring nature. EMS will be remembered for the selfless acts of generosity and compassion rendered by the men and women who embodied the profession. A unified celebration of its life will be held at each local agency this Saturday at 1 p.m. In lieu of flowers, you can make donations to the National Coroners Association, as they will be overwhelmed. That's it. Guys, today I'd like to talk to you about EMS reform and the critical need for us to make some changes before it's too late. Between educational gaps, the need for more governing, and wage increases, there's just a whole bunch of inequalities that must be addressed before we go extinct. My name is Sarah Brown. I've been in EMS for almost 13 years. I'm a lieutenant with Tipp County Fire Rescue in Tipton, Georgia. I'm also an instructor, and I teach at various locations and academies throughout our region. From my beginning, I've always been in training and education, and on the sidelines and in my downtime, I'm always doing things to help our profession advance. To address the educational gap, the only thing that can be said primarily is that we are deterring people from the profession, because even from the minute that they apply to colleges, to private sector academies, they're told that as soon as you get done, this won't transfer anywhere. And what that does is it creates a big gap when they want to advance their career. So if a paramedic has an associate's degree, which used to be not attainable at all, in only recent years have we kind of made the associate degree for paramedics a little bit more accessible, but it's still limited, and there's very few. But now for a 4-year degree, which is non-existent in the state of Georgia, we're telling them that you must go online, and then those credits don't transfer back should they want to go to medical school, should they want to, get their doctorate. And nowadays, in this modern era, you can't do anything off the truck without a bachelor's degree, okay? Beyond that, nurses and paramedics, because they are our counterparts, are the most closely resembled counterpart. There's an extreme inequity there as well. If you were to take the state policy on the Secretary of State website and compare the rules and regs for a paramedic and that of a nurse, they match, almost verbatim. It's perplexing to me, because the only real big difference is our setting, pre-hospital and hospital for the most part. And although there are some long-term care guidelines and differences in scope, at the end of the day, the standard is oversight by a physician. Yet they have their BSN, which is widely available, and we do not. Because of that, it limits our progression as far as advancement in our profession, but it also creates a widening gap for the workforce. just over the past six months, our workforce has decreased by 5%, and that number is on the rise. As you know or may not know, the DOT is that regulates us, and then through them, it's left up to the state to issue funding and to govern EMS agencies. But because we're so strictly limited by the state, and we have no real federal support funding wise, we're left with poor wages, underfunding, no pension, and it's hard for us and our agencies to get supplies, the equipment we need to pay for training, continuing ed, and then obviously it goes on and on from there. The reason why EMS has been stagnant would have to be a combination of all of these. It begins with education, and until we address the educational gaps and advocate for regulatory bodies who, maybe aren't a union, but definitely work for us, we are going to go extinct. There's going to come a day when this is really going to happen, and our very short profession is going to come at an end. I don't see a strike happening for us. I don't see our devoted men and women just leaving and abandoning their ship, but I do see the workforce dwindling so badly that there's no one to run calls. I foresee calls being made where 911 picks up and says, "I'm sorry, we have no response for you." So please join me in advocating for the reform of EMS, both at state and federal level. And if you have any questions, I'm here to talk to you anytime.